Do you like comic books? Do you like all types of nerdy shit? Do you like hearing people discuss these topics? Do you like hearing one guy talk to himself for an hour about this kind of shit? Well, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to the Bat in the Hat podcast, hosted by me, Secret Identity Man. This is the intro to my podcast, innit? What is happening, everybody? My secret identity is Bruce Wayne, and this is my show, The Bat in the Hat, where I'm going to talk about all things comic book and nerd related and shit. And usually I'd probably have a couple of people with me, my buddy Richard and my buddy Tim, who are big into movies and comic books and video games and a lot of that great stuff that we like to talk about here. So stay tuned. But today it is just me. And for the inaugural, is that a word? Did I say that right? Inaugural episode of The Bat in the Hat, I wanted to really talk about something I've been talking to a lot of people in the comic book community about lately, and that is the difference in comic book fans and superhero fans, which, I'll explain here in a second, but a lot of you probably already understand what I'm talking about and probably already know where I'm going. So, the thing that we were talking about was comic book fans are people like me, people who have a pull list, who go to comic book shops and actually buy comic books and like to read the stories around us. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't always, I think I originated more as a superhero fan. A superhero fan is what I would deem somebody who loves the movies and TV shows and the animated movies and the animated series and stuff like that. Excuse me. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. That I don't shame anybody because they don't read comics, because we're not that kind of nerd. But I just think it's interesting what kind of disconnect there is between one and the other. People who get really excited for the Avengers movies or the Justice League movies, or even the shows, even who dive a little deeper and are really excited for Young Justice that just came out, or the first 3 episodes that just premiered on the DC Universe app. And I think that, of course I'm in that boat too, because I love all that stuff. But there's such a huge disconnect between those people and people who read the comics and delve deep. Again, not one is not better than the other here. That's not that's not at all the argument. The argument is just how interesting of a disconnect there is, because what I feel we get during the movies, what we've been getting consistently, is we've been getting a lot of origin stories over and over and over again. And it's like the old joke, how many times can we watch Bruce Wayne's parents get shot in the alleyway? How many iterations of that has there been, both in TV and film? And it gets brought up, sure, even throughout the comics and the Arkham video games. I think we saw it in the Arkham games 2 or 3 times. I want to say at least twice they had 2 different scenes about it. But either way, how many times can we see Superman's spaceship crash to Earth? How many times can we see it? You know what I mean? So it's just it's origin stories. Marvel obviously has done a fantastic job. Now I'm gonna go ahead and preface this by saying I'm a huge DC fan. Excuse me, over Marvel, and not in a big bad way, because I think I've been really hitting that middle ground lately. But one of the things that Marvel does really well is Marvel has been able to completely not only flesh out their characters really well, but they're introducing new characters that maybe people aren't as familiar with, or maybe people aren't as excited about or as obsessed with. And that's a good thing, because it's bringing us, it's not just hitting your highlights. Iron Man and Thor, especially Iron Man and Thor, were not super popular characters before these movies came out. And I know that you've heard that before. I know a lot of people have heard that before. I'm not going to pretend like I have some kind of insider information. What I do know is that they were not super popular characters. And Marvel brought them to the big screen in a big bad way, and they just hit like nothing before. They just completely caught fire, and I think that's really neat. And I think that they're able to do that more. Guardians of the Galaxy even was not. I knew a decent amount about it. I guess I don't know. Maybe I didn't know all that much about it. I knew of it. I didn't read the books. And I didn't really care. I thought it was a weird ragtag group of characters that I just wasn't super obsessed with. And I think that once they brought him to the screen, and I was like, wow, of course, just like everyone else, I'm like, hey, that's special. That's really cool. And it led me to get into more of their stuff. The new Guardians of the Galaxy book, by the way, Donny Cates is going to be a big part of. Who Donny Cates? If you don't know who Donny Cates is, he writes the current run of Venom. He writes alongside Matthew Rosenberg. He writes the Marvel Knights short story, or the short series that is going on right now. Really great stuff. And what else did Donny Cates do? He's done a lot of stuff, but of course, when I get on the mic and I have to think of stuff, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But he's a really fantastic writer. I tweet him almost every day just because I need him to acknowledge my life, and he's going to be a part of he's going to be a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy book that's coming out. Oh, he's responsible for one of my favorite miniseries ever, which is Cosmic Ghost Rider, and he is going to be a part of the new Guardians of the Galaxy book, and Cosmic Ghost Rider is going to be a part of that as well. I don't know in what capacity, but he is going to be a part of it. So I'm really excited for that. And but yeah, so Marvel did a really great job with that in the movies. But so I think we're getting more into stories. But the thing people don't realize is that obviously you can't be nearly as grandiose and as big and as big as we can make these movies now, and as crazy of the things that we can do. Like, take Doctor Strange. That movie, the effects in that movie still kind of fuck with me, because man, the things that I just think it's crazy how they're able to do that stuff. With Dormammu at the end, just all that over and over scene, that big, it really felt like the comics. So I don't even love that argument anymore that we can't do all the things we can do in the comics. We technically can't, no, but we can get pretty close. But we still get very early adaptations. The stories that we're getting in the MCU are, and I'm gonna leave the DCEU out of this because we'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about that in a second. So I think Marvel is just doing a fantastic job, but we're still getting early adaptations of these characters. What you get to see in the comic books is if you're reading on them, like Batman, for instance, you have a whole history. Such a long history in the current run of Batman. Tom King is the writer of the current run of Batman. He's fantastic. Ex-CIA officer and just a general badass. He's writing Batman and the Heroes in Crisis mini series that is going on, which is a really, really, really great series. And you get this whole history of Batman, and over on the Superman side, which I think Brian Michael Bendis is now heading, is this whole Superman history that you'll never get to see in the movies. You'll never, ever, 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 ever get to see this in the movies. I truly don't believe, because there is so much, excuse me, there is so much to cover there, and so much history, that you will to get them through the movies, you would have to make 10 movies each, and you would have to really condense a lot of stuff. Which, would be cool. I would love to see a long franchised Batman and long franchised Superman, but realistically, can it happen? No. Will it happen? No. Move on. I think that in the comics, what you get is you can enjoy that history and see where it's leading them. And it's scary. A lot of people are afraid to get into comics because they're like, oh, there is that long history. There's all that stuff that I don't know about. stuff that it would take me so long to catch up, and that's just not necessarily true. Go on YouTube. There's a really great, I'm sure most of you may already know about it, but there's a really great channel on YouTube called Comic Storian, where he will take all these popular story arcs in books and condense them. And sometimes you'll listen to it for like 3 hours, but seriously, that getting through the big story arcs that he narrates and he reads them to you like it's a tale, and he's not reading page for page, bubble by bubble. Again, it's condensed, but really great shit. I love hearing him talk. I can't lie, I often will go into one of his videos and start listening. Like I didn't remember 0 Year all that much, and I couldn't remember if I actually read the 0 Year storyline for Batman during the New 52 run. And excuse me. And so I went into his thing and I started listening to the video, and within 5 minutes I turned it off, not because it was bad, but because I was like, all right, I need to read this. Like I'm getting so excited over here just by him narrating this that I need to go pick it up. And I did. So I went and picked it up and got the trade paperback for the 0 Year stuff. And it's the same with anything, though. You can really just catch up on the history. There's no shit. Tweet me. I will tweet you Batman, Superman, whoever's history you want to catch up on. I'll tweet you condensed versions of it in 140 characters, however many fucking characters we get on Twitter now. But yeah, there's a lot of ways to catch up to that, and there's just really great books out there. So my big point is that the disconnect comes with I will be talking to somebody about in the books, and then they're like, no, I only watch the movies. And I think it's a shame. I don't think it's a bad thing. If you really just don't want to read comics, that's fine. But there's just so many great storylines and so many great character traits and just portrayals. And you want to talk about actors' portrayals? Take a look at the different writers' portrayals. All the different writers that we've had, like Alan Moore and Frank Miller, Grant Morrison. Who was after Grant Morrison? Scott Snyder, and now Tom King. These are all Batman specifically writers, but the different takes and the different ideas that they had. And somehow a lot of their shit wrapped together is canon. So we have all of this nonsense, and I love it. I love it because you get to see all these different sides of these characters based on how the writer sees them. And I think it fleshes them out so much as people. It makes you realize that they're people, they're humans, they're, whatever. Superman has gone from the Boy Scout to a complete douche. Watch the animated movie series that they have now, starting with, what was it, Justice League War, where they came together. And so now they have this series of animated movies that are all kind of connected. So you have Justice League War, Throne of Atlantis. They had, I think Justice League Dark was in the same Justice League Dark was in the same continuity. Anyways, Superman's a douche, especially in Justice League War. He was just a complete douchebag. And I think it's neat, change him up, man. Do different shit. I don't know. I'm going on a rant. This whole podcast is a rant. This is just a place for me to be able to go and talk about comic books and talk about this kind of shit because nobody else wants to hear it. So if you're listening, you are a trooper, because this is truly the bottom of the barrel as far as opinions go. But I do think that you're missing. Now, one thing you get if you don't read comic books, one thing you do get is that you get to go into the movies fresh-faced. You get to go into each movie, and if you're excited, if you're one of those people who doesn't read comic books but you get genuinely excited for these movies, awesome, you are awesome. You know what I mean? You have found you've found that spark that a lot of us feel for this nerd shit, for this comic book shit, that we just get so excited because we're just lonely, pathetic creatures. And I'm joking, but we, that's so cool that you can go into these movies and get excited. And what you get is you get to go and see them as they're meant to be seen. I think most of the time, I think a lot of people are way too snooty about these movies. but you do get to go in with a fresh face and a fresh idea, and that's just, man, that's super cool. I wish I had that. I wish I were able to. And I think that, I say that, but I think that I'm probably one of the most open-minded people, and not to like, beat my chest, but I think I do go into most movies. So let's, backtrack to I was saying we'll talk about the DCEU. Obviously Marvel is killing the game. They're fantastic. They're doing great. And the DCEU is not doing fantastic, but I'm a big fan. Obviously, I'm a big DC fan in general, and I enjoyed the movies. I enjoyed Batman v Superman. I enjoyed Justice League. I very much enjoyed Wonder Woman. I just watched it again the other night. Forced my dad to sit and watch it with me. He sat through half of it. Fucking imbecile. And he, I saw Aquaman. Fantastic. Suicide Squad was one of the few movies that... Now, Suicide Squad I very much enjoyed. I don't want anyone to ever misquote me on that, because holy shit, did I have so much fun in the theater sitting and watching that disaster of a movie. I loved it, and I would not change a thing, except if I did another one, I'd do it again. Like, I would, different continuity, and I'd do it better. But it's such a fun movie. It really is a fun movie, and they had a lot of great elements to it. I just think they missed the mark on a lot of shit. But DC in general, what DC did not do is, and I even hate regurgitating this, because I think so many people have said what they think on this, I think so many people have given this opinion, is that DC did not take the time that Marvel did. So Marvel, when it first kind of happened, we had Iron Man. It was the first Iron Man movie in 2008. And it was a technical feat. It was such an achievement. I think that's where we all kind of fell in love. And what's great about that is that they had to have had these plans, right? They had to have already been planning some part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Because at the end of Iron Man, what did we get? We got Nick Fury coming in and being like, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. And that was a shitty impression. But, he's like, I want to talk to you about the Avengers Initiative. And so they clearly had some kind of ideas. I'm willing to bet it was very loose back then, because they've done that in previous movies. They've had cameos in the Hulk movies, and Tony Stark himself, Robert Downey Jr., was in the end credit scene for The Incredible Hulk. But the first Hulk movie, I think they had a couple references. I don't remember. It's a bad movie. I don't watch it a whole lot. But they took the time. We had Iron Man, and then we got Iron Man 2. I don't remember. I don't think we got Iron Man 3 before Avengers, but we got at least 2 Iron Man movies, and we got other movies as well. We got Captain America: First Avenger. What all did we get? We had a couple good movies before Avengers actually happened, but they took the time to build up the anticipation. They gave us a couple of origin movies. They gave us a couple of things where we were like, I need this. And then we finally got Avengers. And even after the Avengers, we got solo movies. We got movies where they had quick cameos, not a whole lot. And the first movie, and I could be wrong on this, but the first movie that I really felt like it was an Avengers movie without the Avengers, was Thor Ragnarok. All the way to Thor Ragnarok, which is recent, because we had Thor, Valkyrie, we had, and the Hulk, he was with Bruce Banner. Where the fuck was Valkyrie? Did she die on that ship? She couldn't have died on that ship. There's no way that Thanos pieced Valkyrie up. Am I missing something? I don't know. Anyways, so that's what Marvel did really well. They fleshed out their people, and DC didn't do that. We got another fucking movie where we saw Bruce Wayne's parents getting shot in Batman v Superman. And please excuse if you can hear this plane flying over my house. My house is not nearly as well insulated as it should be. We got Batman v Superman, and we saw, again, more origin. Man of Steel was another fucking Superman origin movie, but I'll give Man of Steel its credit. It went through the origin, as quickly as I think it was paced very nicely. I think that Smallville is the only real origin that we've gotten of him, and it's a mess. A beautiful, beautiful mess. Please, please watch Smallville because it is fantastic. But Man of Steel was a solid movie, so I'll give them that. It wasn't garbage or anything. It was a solid flick, other than the destruction porn at the end, which everyone seems to agree. So, you had those origin movies, but then we went straight to Batman v Superman, where that acted as part of Batman's origin movie, because he didn't have a movie beforehand. And not only did we get Batman and Superman in the same fucking movie, we got Wonder Woman as well. Wonder Woman just like, boom, shows up. We got the Trinity, the core Justice League members in the first fucking movie. And I'm saying the first movie because fuck Man of Steel. I'm not going to count that as the first movie because that was a Superman movie. Solid beginning. And then they jumped right to the Justice League. And it's stupid in my opinion. We should have gotten Wonder Woman before. We should have definitely gotten Wonder Woman before that fucking movie came out. Probably should have even gotten Aquaman, but we should have at least gotten a Batman flick. The new Batman flick showing us, hey, this is the new Batman. Fuck Christian Bale, honestly. And I'll get into that in a whole separate video of my issues with the Dark Knight movies and the Nolan films. But, so we jumped right into Justice League. And then we jumped literally from Batman v Superman right into... Was there another movie? Did Wonder Woman come out before or after Justice League? It was after Justice League, right? I don't remember. The point is that they took no time to build up that anticipation. They took no time to build that universe. And we got thrown into it. And they were, close enough. The casting choices, excellent. Henry Cavill, that dude is fucking Superman. Not anymore because he quit, or he got fired or whatever the fuck happened. Now he's the Witcher, but Henry Cavill was a great Superman. Ben Affleck for me, and this is personal, Ben Affleck for me was my Batman all day. And Gal Gadot, wonderful Wonder Woman. So, I think they were fantastic. Obviously, Jason Momoa is a outstanding Aquaman. That movie was fucking lit. If you have not seen Aquaman yet, you need to see Aquaman because that is by far probably the best DC movie to have ever come out. Best live action DC movie to date to come out. I don't think I have a single issue with that movie. Of course, I need to watch it again once it comes out on Blu-ray and give me one more time to watch it through, but I was on the edge of my seat the entire movie. Fantastic. Jason Momoa is awesome. Ezra Miller is a great Flash. Terrible Barry Allen. I think that he is a good Wally West. I think that if they went with the Wally West interpretation of the Flash, then Ezra Miller really would nail it. And I'm sorry, I can't remember dude's name who plays Cyborg, but he was great, man. Really, really great. We had great casting, and giving me J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? They made a lot of good choices, and I think that's interesting. That it's doing so poorly because they made a lot of good choices, but a lot of bad. The movies felt rushed. They were paced so awfully. They were so bang, bang, bang. Let's just get through these scenes. The exposition, which a lot of people may complain about in certain instances, was necessary in this instance, and we didn't get it. We didn't get the exposition we needed. We didn't get the background and the build-up and the explanation. I just wanted to know more about this world because I think they went into it being like, oh, everybody knows these characters. When no, that's the disconnect. That right there is the disconnect. Okay? Full circle. Here we are. Fucking boom. Comics versus not reading comics. People who don't read comics don't know. They know of these characters, but they don't know shit about them. They don't know shit about where they come from. They don't know anything about Wonder Woman and Themyscira. They don't know about the Amazons. They don't know about the lore. You know, they don't know about... Everybody knows Superman came from Krypton, but you know how many people actually know about the story? Like, do you know how many people, if you went and said, what's Superman's, biological father's name? How many people are going to say Jor-El? Not a lot, honestly. Not a fucking lot. A lot of people, everybody knows Batman's parents, and they may even know their names. Martha and Thomas Wayne. A lot of people may know that, the Waynes were shot. Nobody knows who they were shot by. Hashtag Joe Chill. They don't know the story behind after he was shot. They don't know about, him traveling abroad. That's all stuff that we know because we're comic book nerds. Because we read this shit and we love this shit. We've looked into this shit. But a lot of people don't know how Batman got his actual training. A lot of people just think it was Liam Neeson on some fucking slab of ice. They don't know. And again, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not saying like, oh, people should really read comic books or else you're not a real fan. That's not we're not bullies here. There's a lot of that in the nerd community. Well, if you don't like what I like the same way I like it, no, fuck that. If you only like the movies and TV shows, bro, go for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm cool with that. And if you love to read the comic books like I do, awesome. Let's talk more about that because I can go on about that for a little longer. But if you do not read the comic books, you probably don't know this stuff just off the top of your head. And that's fine. But the movie makers, the Zack Snyders and the Joss Whedons and the people, they're going about this assuming you know about these characters already, and you probably don't. And that's where they rushed it. That's where they were like, all right, I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm very interested. If I have any viewers at all ever, I'm very interested to hear what you think. Do you think that they need to cater to your lack of knowledge a little better? Do you think that there's anything inherently wrong with only listening to or only watching the movies and TV shows? Do you have a favorite DCEU movie? Do you have a favorite DC animated movie? Tweet me at the Bat in the Hat. Ugh, I'm tired. I probably had a bigger point somewhere in here, but we're coming up on 30 minutes. I'm not going to do a super long podcast right now. About half-hour episodes just to get a chunk out of your day. But thank you so much for listening. If you listened all the way through, and it's something that you think, hey, pretty good podcast, let me know. If there's something you think I could do better, please let me know. Once again, tweet me at BatHatOfficial. BatHatOfficial is my Twitter handle, and that is for the podcast channel itself. And other than that, thank you guys so much for listening. Let me know what you think. I keep saying the same things over and over and over again. All right, bye-bye.